Alright, we're
Yeah.
rolling.
E
Happening.
happening.
Woo.
Beans.
Welcome to
Ooh.
the Modcast, or the Hotcast, also known as the Harmonicast, also known as the Songcast. uh,
Uh,
I'm Monica.
title is pending.
Yes, I'm Monica. I'm here with Tony and John, and we'll be talking about metalcore stuff and other releases from this year.
I'm Tony.
I'm John, as Monica said already, but in case you all didn't know who we were. So, what do we want to start with?
Let's start with Starset. Because that
All
topic
right.
is pretty quick since they haven't released much, you know.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
been the
just
one
one
song,
song.
and that song being Infected. It's a certified banger, that's for sure.
Yes, official banger.
Oh,
Signed
yeah,
by
totally.
John.
Because don't y'all know a song can't be a certified banger unless I say it is.
Yes. Yes, those are the rules of the modcast.
Oh yeah, I am the certified banger giver. Wait, hold on, that sounds bad.
That,
That
I
sounds.
don't know about that.
What do you guys think about Infected from Stars Up?
Tony, you go.
It sucks. It sucks. A 0 out of 10. Not enough blegs and breakdown.
Not
Get out.
Okay. Yeah, it's really solid. A really solid rock tune, which we don't get a whole lot from this band. It's got a pretty upbeat chorus,
Mhm.
and they're not like usually like that, but it usually gets stuck in your head. At least for me, when it comes to this band, because you got like Trials, you got Monster, a couple others. Visions had quite a few earwormy songs. This one kind of falls into that pattern, except that it doesn't like the soundscape doesn't really fit the album,
Mhm.
but that's not really a bad thing. It actually reminds me of something you probably hear off of Vessels from
Yeah.
like the vocal effects at the beginning, the choir or whatever.
Yeah.
It just kind of screams classic Starset to me in the best way possible. And Rob Graves, he produced like most of Fred's albums and first two Starset records, and yeah, this kind of sounds a little bit like those two records with a bit of a beat thing.
Yeah.
I guess you could
Which
call
is
it.
probably why I liked it so much. Like as you guys know, I wasn't too keen on Divisions. I've listened to it a couple times, and it's my opinion that it has grown in a more positive direction past most recent times. But with Infected, within the first two listens of the song, I basically fell in love with it because it was just a very catchy song.
Oh yeah,
Um, Very easy to put on repeat, and
very.
the producing on it is honestly some of the best stuff I've seen from Starset. And it's like you said, Tony. It's a good radio, a good classic basic rock song in a good way from them. As time goes on, I could pretty much guarantee that Infected's probably gonna stay in probably my top 10 songs by Stars Up. To be honest,
Probably.
yeah,
It's probably up there for me already at this
yeah,
point. And the parts where it goes and when Starset does halftime, I get shivers everywhere.
I
Because
can
like
agree.
when they do
I agree with that.
the raspy thing, when Dustin does that raspy thing with his vocals, that's what gets me. When they do halftime with the vocals and they just let the wall of sound take over, that's what
Hmm.
usually gets me as well. And like the lyrics all across this thing too, especially in that bridge. Hang on, what was it? It was
One
give me
if
one
by
sec.
land, and two if by sea. Maybe it's both, and we'll all get lucky.
Yes, that one. I don't know why. That just sounds so good to me. There's a lot of like, I wouldn't say it's like too politically charged. Like it's
A little bit.
yeah, I can see
There's
it.
definitely there's undertones there from politically wise.
Yeah, there's climate change. The song is titled "Infected," so it could have a it could be based upon pandemic stuff
Yeah, I mean
and the panic
for whatever the song was made for, I think it's for some mobile game. No clue
was.
what that game is about. Could also tying with that, we really don't know. There's definitely a lot of undertones in that song
Yeah.
that, you'd actually have to really pay attention to it to really notice them. And that's why I like it so much. It's like as a regular rock song from Starset, you can listen to it and just enjoy it as a song. And if you really want to, you can really focus in on the deeper themes of it.
See, I think it does a lot well that most mainstream rock bands don't do well enough. Like, of course, you get Starset, you get your strings, you get Dustin Bates with his occasional raspiness,
Yeah,
get those that guitar tone, that rich, thick guitar tone, and drumming. You get the electronics, of course. I don't know if I said that already, but of course you get a little bit of electronics. It's got a little bit of everything that makes Starset really good in my eyes.
hmm
Um, you know, I would say it could use a breakdown, but since this is more of a radio leaning song, I think it does the job fine without it. To be
yeah,
honest,
I agree.
it would have been amazing,
I
but
mean,
like
Starset does make some spicy breakdowns.
telekinetic is um,
This is one of those.
pretty surprising.
Bringing it down.
Bringing it down
Yeah.
is another one.
So since Tony and I have basically taken over on this one, what do you think of the song, Monica?
It's a great song. It had to grow on me quite a bit. On the first few listens, I was like, this is pretty like solid, but not like I don't know, not up to their normal standard. But
Yeah,
then I realized that it is just because it's a single that is more radio friendly, and they made it, for a game or whatever. Which I don't know anything about either, but yeah, I feel like it did a lot of things right. Like, not only did it have like the political lyrics and stuff, but it also just kind of reminded me of like a dystopian kind of environment or something like that. And I feel like they pulled that off really well. It just felt very like fast paced, but then it goes to that halftime in the chorus, like you were mentioning, Tony, and like I also really love that part. And yeah, I think it's a pretty good song. I'm excited to see what they do next with their sound.
all right, yeah.
Yep.
The one thing I want to know about it is this just going to be a standalone single, or do you think it's going to be on their upcoming album, which I think Dustin said, I think this year for one album.
Yeah. I mean, I think it will probably be on their next album. Like, I'm just guessing.
My
All right.
guess would probably be before like a deluxe edition of Divisions, if not a new album. Because with their past two records, they have like a bunch of remixes and acoustics and reimaginings of some of their songs off of those aforementioned records from them.
Yeah.
Last year we got like several million uploads of the song Trials, including the
Several
reimagined
million.
version.
That's
The
true.
reimagined version of Trials was just epic and
No, yeah. I
most artists
remember
have
listening to
seen
that for the
ever.
first time. It just it kind of took me by storm, that version, and I was like, oh, was not expecting that.
The song itself, the original song is like again made for radio, but like they turn it into like a completely different sounding song.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
But yeah, myself personally, I would probably rank the song a solid 8 out of 10. That's myself personally. I mean, it's like I don't have a huge bias towards Starset as a band, and I wish it did more as a song, but at the same time, it did good for what it delivered with. So I think a solid 8 out of 10 for me is a good score for it.
I would probably agree with that score. I would also give it an 8, which for me, like an 8 means that it went above and beyond, and I think it's something special and something I will return to, but it's also not something that I like love a lot, you know?
Yeah,
I give it like a 9. That I don't know if that's bias or if I just really think it's a super solid song from the band. Probably both.
I mean, hey, it works. I mean,
Untitled.
see,
That's a good.
it's kind of one of those, like, I say eight right now. It could be one of those songs that changes in the future. It's kind of the same story with Divisions with me. It's like I liked it when it first came out, grew really sick of it, basically hated it for a long time. Re-listened to it like a year later, grew to it more, and then became mostly positive with some clients, so with some complaints. Where do y'all want to segue into next?
You decide.
Since I know the most of this record, I say we transition into Architects. I guess starting with the Architects conversation, discussion, this album took a very different direction from them, and it was done right. Like comparing All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us and Holy Hell to For Those That Wish to Exist, all three records are utterly different. Like All Our Gods is a straightforward metalcore album with some really epic areas. Holy Hell is a very theatrical kind of sounding album, and in some ways, For Those That Wish to Exist just sound like it kind of gives me like a journey vibe. Like it takes you on a journey in a way. Starting with
Yeah.
that really epic sounding intro, "Do You Dream of Armageddon," all the way through like some of the more angry songs like "Impermanence," "Black Lungs," into the banger of a song "Animals." Just saying, it's one of the best songs in the album for sure. Into the kind of unexpected acoustic ending of "Dying Is Absolutely Safe." I was not expecting that song to be an acoustic song. Architects did a very good job on this record, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
To this day, it's still my favorite album of the year. Um, I honestly would rank it a 10 out of 10 now. All the songs have grown on me. "Flight Without Feathers" is probably my least favorite song on the album, but even that one, I'll stay and listen to it because it's so different compared to the rest of the record. As a whole, what did you guys think of the record, like individually, like as comparing to their previous works?
I'm like looking at the track list, so I know what I'm talking about a little bit. I also really, really loved that closing track because for me, like, I listened to Holy Hell as well, like, when it came out.
Hmm.
And I remember that, like, everyone in, like, our online community of friends, we were all, like, freaking out about it. And I remember kind of feeling like on the outside looking in, kind of being like, what is so special about this? Like, I don't understand. It just kind of sounds
Sort of
like
feeling the
another
same way.
metalcore album. I don't know.
I was feeling the same way. I think we jammed the same record at the same time.
That was Silent
Did the
Planet.
same thing. Prego confusing the two bands again.
Yeah, it was Silent Planet we listened to. But, yeah, I know for those that wish to exist, like, my friend Gabe was like, hey, I'll be uploading a reaction to the new Architects album. And I was like, I didn't even know they had a new album. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, it comes out, like, in a few days because it hadn't come out yet or whatever.
Yeah.
And, and I was like, oh, wow, that's when I get my wisdom teeth out. That's a fun fact. So when I was like literally the next morning after I threw up all night, I was having oatmeal the next morning and I listened to the album. So that was my first like experience with it.
Mm.
Okay, I just gotta say that is probably the most unique way I've ever heard someone listening to a metalcore album before. That is the best. I love that.
It made me feel like, I don't know, since I was in such a like annoying situation, it made me feel like definitely a little more pumped up. Like, at least mentally I felt a little better listening to it because I definitely like enjoyed the production of it. It felt really sleek and modern, you know, with electronic influences and stuff. But it also felt like a real metalcore album. Like, it didn't feel like it was too poppy or anything. Although it was a lot more poppy than Holy Hell from what I remember, but I feel like it
Yeah.
worked for them. Like they have enough melodic and like songwriting strengths to where this kind of sound like worked out for them. And yeah, it's a long album, almost an hour long. And I remember during the last like couple tracks I was getting a little like sick of it. I was like, okay, like this is nice and I like the sound of this, but I'm kind of ready for this to end. And then that last song happened, Dying is Absolutely Safe, and it was like a gut punch, and I just absolutely loved it. Like I just love the arrangement they did with it. It just sounds beautiful. For that song alone, I just remember this album fondly and I enjoyed it quite a bit. So yeah.
What score would you give it?
A strong 7.
That's a
Decent.
fair score.
I mean, honestly,
My
it's
turn.
yeah. Sorry, Tony. You can speak. Sorry.
Okay, you're good. You're good. So,
We're all interrupting each other.
It's like
No, you don't get to speak. Stop.
what is there to say about this album that hasn't been said already? The production about on this thing is outstanding. That's like the first thing that caught my attention on first listen. I was actually pretty blown away upon first listen. I wasn't even expecting to blow me away. Like I had pretty high expectations for it, but like it exceeded my expectations. Because like all the singles they put out before the album came out was they were all really, really, really solid. Um, Meteor, I don't know where I place Meteor as far as the ranking goes, like out of the singles, but I have a lot of fun listening to that song. Very anthemic when it gets to the halftime like orchestra part. That's what sends chills down my spine. I'm just like, yes. I guess the
see,
same could be said about Dead Butterflies, which is way more orchestra centered, or like
mm,
melodic and super beautiful. It reminded me of like the Royal Albert Hall live
Oh yeah,
album from Bring
definitely.
It Back.
yeah, okay. I remember watching Wyatt Stabb's reaction to all the main singles and stuff, and one thing I disagree with what he said was he ranked Meteor being his number one favorite out of the singles, and Meteor is good. I like it. It's a very poppy song. It's very energetic, and it's very I started. I listened to it all the way. That was a good song. Cool. But it's also probably the most radio friendly, basic sounding song in a way. I mean, that bridge section where, like you said, goes halftime is absolutely beautiful. I love that, and it's good. But compared to the rest of the album, it's like I still love the song. It's just not really as good as the rest of the songs, in my opinion. And my opinion, of course.
So yeah, I got a lot more to say about it. Um,
Hmm.
I got many, many, many standout tracks, and there's some tracks that are just like
Standout tracks
they're good
every song.
about every song,
So,
but
what would you say your favorite song is? Every one of them.
much. Like if I were to pick maybe three, I would go with Discourse is Dead. Another one being Dead Butterflies. Libertine is super underrated in my opinion.
Libertine's good. Libertine's definitely really good.
The
Um,
lows, like the low growls you hear on some of these songs are really just they don't happen, but like for very long. But when it does, it's just like, ooh, where did that come from?
Kind of like
Like,
that the ending of Discourse is Dead, and where Sam just goes in that really low register for the last just oomph. And it's like, ooh, hello.
he did. Someone did the low growls in the verses too. It's just like when they screamed "Amen" like that, they were just like "Amen." I was like, ooh, ooh, ooh,
Ooh,
chills,
hello.
chills. And the drumming is so good. Drumming is really, really, really good.
Yeah, it's. I'm still trying to learn Discourse is Dead, and it's
Oh my
kind of kicking
goodness.
my ass. Kind of kicking my ass at the moment.
And I really want to learn that song at some point. It's got so much double bass in the verses, and Sam Carter is just screaming like a maniac. I'm just like, ooh, dang, boy, go
Yeah.
off. And the
Um.
tone of it, you know, the overall soundscape of it sounds something like you'd hear off of. Sempiternal record
Mm,
from Bring Me the Horizon. Like, was taken back to when I first heard that. I was like, wow. In the bridge, he's got really great lyrics in his mind. When he's like, no common sense left in these empty heads, swimming towards the storm. The, and then he just repeats those lines again, but as if it was building up to a climax. Just
yeah.
sounded so epic, like with the
I
double
mean,
bass drums. Yeah. I would go would sound like everyone else saying, "Oh, they could have used a breakdown," but I don't think that would have been the case because that would have been, in my opinion, as awesome that as that would have been, it probably would have been too predictable. After the build up to the final chorus. Yeah, I like how they just kind of teased everyone like that.
it's
Uh,
and I agree with that. I would have loved a breakdown in Discourse is Dead. I really, really would have loved it there. But at the same time, I think the song is better off without one because
I
of
think so.
how intense the song as a whole is by itself.
Yeah.
Like,
Inside, it's got some breakdowns in it already.
yeah, I mean,
The drumming and
I would honestly consider the verses being breakdowns because how slowed down they are and how just intense Sam's going at it with his
yeah,
vocals.
you're just going at it like just bite everywhere. Nom, 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 nom. I don't know what that was for. It's pretty late here,
I'm like,
but
I don't know
I
if
don't,
that's the vibe.
yeah, I don't think it was nom nom nom, but like more of like a vicious dog just scaring off
Yeah.
people or something. I don't know.
Definitely like comparing the vocals to Discourse is Dead to vocals on Holy Hell. I feel like vocally wise, they kind of played it safe on Holy Hell. A lot of the vocals on that are absolutely insane on that record, and a lot of them are very, very good. But some of it just seems very just held back in areas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comparing to Discourse is Dead, where it's like completely unhinged.
And the electronic build-ups in it too, it's just really nice.
Hmm.
I guess one critique about this song and maybe the intros kind of sound similar in some way, but like
Yeah.
I think that was on purpose. They both sound, in different keys. It's just, similar glitchy synthesizing effects, something like that. That's not a big issue. It's just something I noticed. But yeah, Discourse is Dead, Dead Butterflies are both like my favorite songs on the album. So I don't really have
All
any
right.
complaints on that. Again, it's just something I noticed. Um,
All right.
Libertine, really underrated. It's got really nice riff, really, really solid drumming. Guess it's sort of like a different version of Discourse is Dead in a way, sound wise, because you got like Sam Carter doing his like screeching, and then like you got that melodic chorus, which is just like again halftime, um, just kind of sit steady beats, and then like the occasional chord change. Then his vocals, the way he delivers the vocals in that song is just super underrated. Um,
Sorry, I need to sit on a pillow. Sorry, continue.
lyrics in this one are really underrated, and like the what I love how Sam and Libertine just switches his vocal style in like many different ways in that one, because like you get his screaming, you get his mid-range chorus singing, and you get his lower like melodic softer singing. Honestly, overall this album has some of his best vocal performances probably so far. I gotta take a
both cleans and screams.
Yeah, it's mostly like cleans, but like when the screams just sound as good as the cleans, if not better. And that's been like my most played album this year so far. Some other standouts, Animals, really solid rock leaning tune. On first listen, I was really, really impressed with the overall atmosphere because, we were discussing Starset earlier about how they were doing that electronic stuff and like the ambience and whatnot. That kind of gave me that vibe a little bit with more of a gentiness or whatever. Um,
Very kind of Rammstein-esque riff right there,
something
kind
like
of thing.
that. Something like that. I don't know if I can compare it to them. Then again, I don't
I
know much
mean,
about
it's
Rammstein.
just the way it sounds like
Yeah.
something. It's very very industrial sounding in a way.
Yeah, very, very. Um, but I definitely hear like the electronics and the vocal style and the verses kind of remind me of Dustin Bates a little bit. Yeah, the piano keys just give me chills, man. And again, his vocal delivery and verses. It almost reminds me of Monster by Starset in a way, because one thing I loved about Monster off of the Vessels record was, I love the verses more than the choruses, and that's saying something.
Yeah.
Because like some really underrated like vocal lines. Um, it just kind of reminded me of that. Kind of gave me that sort of vibe with his, vocals like that, and how he just kind of goes a little bit harsher in that second verse. You get the breakdown, which comes after build up. Breakdown is just like, no, it's coming. You don't know when it's coming because it just like there's just this couple seconds of silence after like the piano keys fade out. Just like, like out of nowhere. Probably as simple as it sounds, like it's one of the best breakdowns I've heard from the band so far. Meteor is really solid. Little Wonder grew on me. It's got the guy from Royal Blood in the second verse. Impermanence. Can't believe I forgot that one. The one featuring Parkway Drive, Winston McCall. And I think he delivered really well on, his part of the song. And
Oh,
of course,
definitely.
the drum sound was solid as hell. Uh, I'm gonna be talking about the drums every song on this thing. Yeah. So yeah, album is probably my favorite of theirs so far, and I think I'm going to include myself in the discussion of the last track. Dying is absolutely safe. It's just laid back, acoustic, and you got Sam Carter sounding vulnerable. It's really nice and really beautiful.
Yeah,
Uh,
I love the final line, 'cause death is not my enemy, and it just all those strings kick in, and it's just it's that sense of just like giving in, and it's just all comes, just
It's really
flows.
emotional.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, overall, I don't want. I would love to talk about every song, but we'd probably be here like all night.
More
Um,
than likely.
yeah,
Um,
I wouldn't mind that, but yeah.
I would.
I
I
got a
gotta
bunch
be
to
up at
say.
like 6 or 7 a.m. tomorrow.
Ooh, I got a bunch to say on the record, so I'm gonna let Monica go first because I got a bunch to say as well.
Oh, for which one? What are we moving on
For
to?
highlights of Architect's album for
Oh,
highlights
for
and stuff.
highlights.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, let me look up the
So
highlights
talk.
so
again.
I'm gonna let you go first because I got a bunch I want to say too. I'm gonna try and keep it short though.
All right. Discourse is Dead is great. It's one of the more memorable ones on there. An Ordinary Extinction. I was just listening to that earlier this evening and I was like, wow, this is so like randomly good. Like I forgot it existed and then I listened to it and I really enjoyed it. Of course, Dying is Absolutely Safe. That's probably my top three.
Nice. So I'm gonna go over mine again. Dead Chorus is did Discourse.
Discourses did.
This course did.
Dead Chorus. Discourse is dead. That's my favorite. Libertine, then Animals. It's really hard to choose a favorite from this album for me personally, honestly though. Incredible album through and through. Probably give it. I'm just gonna throw a 10 at it. I don't care. It's my favorite of the album. It's my favorite of the year. 10 out of
Okay,
10.
should I start talking now or what?
Yeah, yeah, you should. You should do your
All
highlights.
right. Okay, so for highlights or for those that wish to exist, um, number one definitely being tied for Animals and Discourse is Dead. I honestly can't choose between those two songs. I love them both equally. Discourse is just an absolute banger. It's just so much energy going on it, and it's just so epic sounding, especially in that little the bridge mini. It's like half breakdown, half bridge kind of thing. I don't know how to describe it really. It's mostly bridge, but it's just. Mm. And the ending line, "Don't look down, let thy neighbor down. Discourse is dead," and the extra lower range he just gets a. And it's just like. Mm. Spicy. It's a spicy. There's also animals too. It's like first song they dropped from the record, and probably the first thing I learned on the drums from Architect, and it's easily my favorite Architect song. Honestly, I could easily say Animals is my top favorite Architect song they've ever released, and that's challenging Meme-ory from All Our Gods of Abandonment. I love that song too a lot. Number two would probably go to Dying is Absolutely Safe. I have grown to love that song so much more than I first did when I first listened to the record. Very beautiful and very, as you said, Tony, very Sam sounds very vulnerable on that song, and it's very just emotional through and through, like you said, Monica. But then Impermanence comes in at number three. Um, Absolutely amazing song. I am also learning that one to play. I'm almost getting it down. It's just in the same branch as Discourse is Dead, where it's got that energy, it's got that aggression, it's just got that brutality where a classic Architect song needs it. It's just very special. And honestly, it's like if the song didn't feature Winston McCall with Parkway Drive, the song would still be amazing. But since they did bring Winston in on it, it just brought the whole thing together, and it just was absolute perfection. Another one that I've actually grown to love in the past few weeks is Demigod. Actually, I didn't like it that much at first, but it's definitely gotten better with time for it, 100%. And then finally, for probably my last top favorite would honestly probably fall with Goliath because that opening riff literally punches you in the face.
Oh yeah.
It just like it's got that kind of quiet intro, and then just Sam just goes and just the riff just it's great. And Simon Neil did a great job on vocals of there. I didn't know Simon could scream. Um, I know he can sing because he's actually featured on another song from the band While She Sleeps, their song Nervous, which is also very good, by the way. But that's off topic. Those are probably my top favorites from the album. And it's like Tony said before, it's very, very hard to pick a favorite. So yeah, I guess that basically concludes my thought process on Architects for those that wish to exist. Easily a 10 out of 10 from me. So since I picked the Architects theme, who wants to pick the next topic? So far we've gone over Starset and Architects. Who
Tony, your
wants to
turn.
pick the next one? Okay.
Let's do Erra.
I'm gonna pull up the track list.
Too.
Then there's me. My computer's not working, so I gotta go CDs. Also,
Yep.
not gonna lie, that CD is like super shiny, and it's like kind of reflecting off my face a little bit.
Man, it looks like blinding. It's like glowing.
Oh, there it is. There we go. Yeah, it's a disco party.
Disco
recording
party.
the
I can edit a disco party.
There we go. I am so all over the place right now. It's not even funny. So, Tony, since you chose Erra, I'm gonna shut up now and I'm gonna let you talk because I talk too much.
I only heard this thing once in full. I think Monica did too, but I think you listened to it the most, John. But I'm gonna go ahead and like give what I thought about the album upon first listen. It's something I don't really hear a whole lot in metalcore. I don't know if that makes any sense. But I can't like think of a different band that sounds like Erra. I actually discovered them when I was with a different band that I used to be in. My singer at the time, he was like, check out these albums from Erra. I'm like, wow, these are really, really, really good. Something I never really hear a whole lot in metalcore. Their album art is just fantastic. Like, that not that has anything to do with the music, but like the way they, design their album covers are just
Super
really,
aesthetic.
yeah, super.
Especially Neon and Drift. Those ones are just very bright in color and is very like they kind of just make you like, oh, this is cool. And like kind of comparing those to self-titled, it's a very different direction
Yeah, but it's
It's
also like
yeah.
aesthetic in a different way, like in a darker way. I used to have a poster of the Neon album cover, and unfortunately, I think I spilled something on it and it got ruined, which I'm very sad about. It was so cool.
No.
Anyway, continue.
You had an Erra poster?
I did. I'll go into why once I talk.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Okay.
I will get to you soon. So the album, and I only listened to it once, so I don't have a solid opinion on it. Sorry for blowing. Something was on my phone screen, but it's
Unacceptable.
definitely very solid, very heavy, very brutal. Vocals were on point. The aggressiveness is there. If you're a fan of Architects, you might end up enjoying Era. Not that they sound too similar or anything, but it definitely should be in that same ballpark, the same alley if you're into that kind of style of metalcore. Grave, I really like. Lunar Halo, I really like. Vanish Canvas, I'm sorry.
Avis.
Cavis.
Cavis.
House of Glass is another one I really like. Now, it's been a while since I visited this record, but when I did listen to it, it was really solid. Um, I think I just haven't come back to it because, I'm busy doing a lot of other things like working and stuff. But, like, I've tried to
What's
listen to
work?
it.
What's that?
It's a thing where you get money. Anyway, yeah, this album's really solid. I don't have really much to say about it, but that's only because I haven't returned to it that much. But yeah, when I did hear it, I thought it was really solid. It does deserve replay value that it should. And yeah, that's on me for not giving it enough like spins or whatever. Then again, at the time, like I was I was just getting over like a vaccine shot. I was pretty tired that day, so I tried to listen to it. I didn't get through more than a couple of songs. Not that I. It's not because I hated it. I just wasn't in the mood. It was when it like first came out, but like I gave it another shot and I thought it was really solid. Again, I don't have too much to say about it because I only heard it once, but what it was, really solid stuff, and I would definitely recommend it. The vocals are something else too.
Oh God, the I think his name is JT Katie. I think his name is the vocalist, and he's just got a range on him that is just disgusting in the best way possible. I mean, Gungrave is evidence of that, and it's just it's beautiful.
Erra's a really solid band, if I do say so myself. And their aesthetic is really cool. Like, that's a thing I really like about them. Their colorful album art, including the new one, which isn't as colorful, but it just looks so good.
It's got some colors in there. As my branch of what Tony said before, it's definitely it's a brutal album. Like it
Very.
starts, and the only calm part of the album is honestly their song "Memory Fiction." That's probably the slowest song on the album, and it's just from start to finish. Snowblood and Gungrave is just a slap in the face back to back. Then we have Divisionary, which is just like in a way it's kind of trippy sounding, sort of, but also heavy. Um, House of Glass and Shadow Autonomous is just like again back to back slaps in the face of like, oh yeah, no, you don't get to chill. Here's some more heavy music. Electric Twilight's also very good. Scorpion Hymn is just has that one just extra deep range where you're just like, oh god. um, Lunar Halo is also very good. Same with Vanish Canvas. I don't know how to pronounce track 10 because I'm stupid because brain's not being nice.
Wait, what is
Um,
it? Hang on.
track it's the track after Vanish Canvas.
No, yeah, I don't know either. I'm gonna guess Eidolon, but I don't know.
I'm gonna
Eidolon.
say Eagle.
We're just
Eidolon.
gonna say Eidolon. That's close enough, and if we're wrong, people can correct us.
Yeah,
'Cause,
people can
yeah.
yell at us in the comments.
If we're
It'll be
wrong,
fine.
please correct us in the comments
Um,
below.
Then Remnant and Memory Fiction are also like very good. Memory Fiction is definitely one of my favorites, and it's been in my favorites since they came out. But last time I ranked the album, I think I put it at an 8 out of 10. I think yeah, I'd still stay with the 8 out of 10 because I'm not the biggest fan of Electric Twilight or Vanish Canvas. I mean, no, sorry, Lunar Halo. Sorry, Lunar Halo or Electric Twilight. Not the biggest fans of those songs, but everything else is also just very, very good. Snowblood's definitely very one to come back to. Same with Scorpion, him and Gungrave, and then House of Glass as well. Very, very catchy
Oh, yeah.
songs. And then it's hard to rank these songs though. It's like unlike Architects, where I could rank those songs pretty easily. Like this one, I honestly have trouble because as a negative of the album, a lot of the songs sound the same, sort of. But as a top five in no particular order, it'd probably go Gungrave, Divisionary, um, Memory Fiction, House of Glass, and Scorpion Hymn. Probably that's my top five.
Right.
Yeah.
I listened to it. I probably would have given it like an 8 or a 9. Since I haven't returned to it in a while, I'd probably give it like a 7. Not a knock on them. It's just that I don't remember much of it. It'll
Yeah.
probably change with a lot more lessons, but for right now it stands as a 7. It's, yeah. I think that's kind of the same way as you, Monica. Like if you liked an album initially, but it kind of wore off because you didn't give it enough listens, you would give it like on a 7 or so.
Yeah, a 7 is my default score whenever I think something is good and it doesn't have any like huge flaws, but it's also not something that I'll like go back to a whole lot typically. All right, cool. So wait, Tony, did you say like what your favorites were?
I think I did, but I can go ahead and listen now again. I liked Gungrave, House of Glass, and I'd go with Vanish Canvas. That's my 3 picks. Will probably change with more listens. A
uh,
damn solid album. I just need to listen to it more. Sorry if I disappoint anyone in the comments, guys. Sorry, I
mm,
trade
How dare
metal,
you?
not
How
listening
dare
to
you
it.
disappoint people? That's unacceptable, Tony.
yeah, how dare you not agree with everyone ever?
Yeah, because don't you know that your opinion's wrong and mine is the only correct one.
Yeah, I mean, you're the one that assigns the bangers, so,
I am the person that gives it the seal of approval for it being a banger. Like this
All right.
album, boom, it's a banger.
All right. I want to
Oh
talk
yeah.
about it now.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Yeah, this album, I listened to it pretty recently. I want to say like maybe a week and a half ago is like the first time I heard it. I do have a little bit of a background with Erra, and I'll explain why I got the poster. So I got that poster in 2018 because I believe Neon was like yeah, it was their newest album. It had like, let me see here. It had just come out like days prior. And I saw this tour with 2 of my siblings called the Summer Slaughter Tour, and Erra was on that lineup, and there's tons of other metal bands, including Between the Buried and Me, which is like the main band I knew at the time. So I went with my siblings to that concert, and there's a bunch of bands, and I barely remember any of them except for Erra and Between the Buried and Me. But I do remember liking Erra when I heard them live, although I had never heard of them before, so I wasn't like really I don't know, it probably would have been more meaningful to me if I had like been familiar with them already. But yeah, that concert was such a weird day for many reasons, but at the very end they were giving out posters, and I grabbed the one that had the Neon album cover on it.
It's
And
cool.
because I wasn't like super into the band, I was like, well, I don't really want to put this up because I don't want to be like a poser. So I was like, maybe I should actually check them out before I do that. But then at one point, I believe I spilled something in my room and it got on it, and I had to throw it away. So that's
The
very sad.
biggest
it is a sad day. R.I.P. Eric
Yes.
Poster.
Yes. Rip.
Like, may it rest in peace.
That was pretty much my only background with the band before I listened to this album. But yeah, I tried to listen to it in the car, like driving to work, but then I realized, well, wait, I live like 8 minutes away from my work, so I'm not gonna get to listen to much of this. And so I listened to like probably like the first 2 songs or something, which I enjoyed, but it was like, eh. Um, so I listened to the rest of it during a workout, and that was really fun. It made it way more fun than it would have been otherwise. I remember turning up the volume and thinking like, wow, this stuff is actually really good. I think it was Shadow Autonomous where I actually like checked my phone. I'm like, whoa, like what's this song called? I want to actually save it, which usually I feel like I have to really love a song in order to get to that point. And then Electric Twilight came on, and this is probably my favorite actually because there's this part in the verse like with the guitar riff, and it gets kind of softer and it's just like da, 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 and it's like all like fast and all over the place. It sounds really progressive and just really, I don't know. I don't know. I just liked like the melodic places they were going to with that, and it really drew me in because of that, and it was more memorable for me. So I really liked that one. And then Scorpion Hymn was also like amazing. And I also really liked Lunar Halo, and they're all back to back. So like that part right in the middle of the album, it just really caught me off guard, and I really loved those few songs. And then, of course, like the Architects album, it closes with this, softer song at the end after tons of brutality and everything. And I felt like that was really tasteful and it sounded really nice. But yeah, the vocals were awesome on this album because, he's got a great range, like a great higher register. A lot of the time in these songs, he just sounds like he's soaring, because he just sings so high and like it just sounds really like triumphant and like
Yeah.
exciting. So
I
I really
believe
enjoyed it.
I believe the guitarist Jesse Cash
Mm.
does some of the cleans too,
Oh,
and
okay.
his voice mixes like perfectly with a harsh vocalist, and it's like their dynamic is so different, but it works.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, the vocals really like blend together really nicely on this album. I also have to listen to it a few more times because I've listened through it once, and then I've come back to a couple of the songs individually since then. So I've not given it like a second listen through. But so far, this is my favorite album of the year and my only 8 of the year. So 8 out of 10. Great album. And as for like my favorites, it's those three in a row: Shadow, Autonomous, Electric Twilight, and Scorpion Hymn. And then a couple others that I really liked were Memory Fiction and probably Snowblood. Uh, Great opener, great closer.
Close up era. As a whole, in my opinion, the album is a certified banger. Very, very memorable album. I gotta come back to it again. It's been a while since I listened to it.
Same.
But it's definitely in my list of top 10. I believe it's my number 2 right now. Yeah, Erra is very good in my opinion. Tony, do you want to start off with "I Won't Survive" by Convictions?
Oh yeah, let's do that. So this is like the heaviest album we're gonna be talking about. I guess I was impacted by it a little bit more than Era, slightly. What the hell was that? Like that's like a good type of what the hell was that? Because it's pretty brutal in every sense of the word. I mean, the album touches on like very touching subjects like suicide and mental health issues and PTSD and stuff like that. The War That Followed Me Home is all about that. Like someone who's fighting in the military and then coming home and then getting these horrible flashbacks of what happened then. Um, yeah, it's very just disgustingly beautiful. It's really short, 25, just barely 25 minutes long.
Well,
You know, for what it's worth, there's a lot of teeth
Um,
like that comes out
I
of it.
yeah, well, with it only being 7 songs long, one of which being an interlude song. I genuinely believe the album has enough beefiness to it, enough
Very,
sustenance for it to
very,
be a very complete album. It's a
yeah,
very quick listen, but it's also a very enjoyable listen.
enjoyable. Like very depressingly enjoyable if that makes any sense. Because songs are super heavy. You just want to headbang the hell out of it, and then like the lyrics come in and they're just like, damn.
I mean, especially on songs like one that really hits me hard is "The Price of Grace." Um, with me having a friend, a very close friend who committed suicide, um, I want to headbang that song. I want to scream it at the top of my lungs, but it's just like every time that bridge, like the miniature, like the phone call, voice message bridge comes in before that one breakdown, it gives me chills every single time, and it's like I feel bad for headbanging, but at the same time, it's like I like the song way too much to not do it.
I mean, yeah, it's not like a bad thing to headbang it. 'Cause if that's what it was made for, then do
It's
it. But
just
like at the same time, you want to just put it like a neck brace on to keep from headbanging and just like listen to the music for what it is and what it's trying to say.
and it's just like in
It's like
I think I
very
think I think the vocalist's name is Mike. Mike has an absolute set of pipes on him.
oh
Oh
yeah,
my gosh. I watched Robbie's review of Convictions a few days ago, and the way he described the vocalist's style was very unhinged and just chaotic. And
very.
I don't think he could have chosen more perfect words because the way he describes on this album how some parts so I think the song Wreckage, I think it's Wreckage, where his voice just starts to give out a little bit before a breakdown. And it's just you can just hear the emotion on it. And it's just the best way I can describe this record is the most beautiful yet disgusting thing I've heard in a long time.
I agree.
I've got like 70 plus CDs in my collection, and I've got a lot of metalcore albums in my collection. I have not heard an album like this ever.
Wow.
Like
Me either.
this album is something super unique and very special. This was my first record in full I listened to by Convictions, and they're insane.
I think for me personally, it creeps up just behind Architects as my favorite album of the year.
No,
Despite it being very, despite it being short, there's a lot to dig into, including
it
that.
honestly might take its place for Era for me to be honest. Like Era is my number two. It might replace Era, and Era might be lower in the list.
So yeah, I Won't Survive is just incredible. Teeth, the song Teeth. Um, it's one song I can feel good hang headbanging to because it's just there's nothing like too deep about it. It's just you know certified banger, as John keeps saying. Like it's
Damn,
just
hold on, wait, you're back.
okay.
He's gotta do the official. Yeah.
Certified banger.
You got the CD. Oh, cool.
I also have the vinyl too.
Awesome.
Let's see. So like, we talked about the War That Followed Me Home, Price of Grace. Kind of going through all of them so far, Tony. But it's like you said with Teeth. Teeth is a song that feels good to break your neck to.
Yeah.
It's just like it starts and it doesn't stop.
Very. Like it's
Um,
nothing like depressing either. It's just a super solid, heavy headbanger. You could just
and it's
rock
like
out.
I remember reading a post on their Instagram page where it's like this is probably one of our heaviest records yet, and they've been a band since like the 2010s, I think. So they've been around for at least 10 years, and every time I've heard a band say, "Oh, this is going to be our heaviest record yet," it's going to be so good. I think all of us can agree with that. It's like almost every time a band has said that,
Yeah.
it hasn't
Never.
delivered.
Almost never.
I mean, for for like a future episode, grand example would probably be "You're Welcome" by Eddie River. That that album is kind of a hot dumpster fire in my opinion,
Yeah.
but that's a different subject. But it's like this album delivered and then some for brutality and just being entertaining, but yet also beautiful.
Yeah.
Hurricane's also another really good one.
I think that
Um,
one might be my favorite.
Hurricane's definitely my favorite song off the record, like without a doubt. Um, It's actually, I believe, Hurricane and The Price of Grace were the first two songs I heard by Convictions, and I believe Hurricane was technically the first single they dropped off the album. And it's like, oh, this is really good. And the breakdown of that, and it's like the guitar tones and the guitar sounds they made, it's just entertaining. It's good.
The breakdowns on this album are just face melting. Like some of the heaviest I've heard all year so far.
Oh yeah.
The interlude, Everything I Never Told You, I think it just really speaks for itself because, hence the title, it's just an instrumental. And the title just, says it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Then it transitions into Last Cell, which we think is going to be like an acoustic ballad, but nope. It starts off with some acoustic guitars and it just punches you right in the face like everything else.
It just slaps you across the room, and it's like chugging guitars, and it's just all the way through. Unhinged vocals, absolutely soaring chorus.
If we're ignoring like the message, like more than half the time, my face was just, it looked like I ate something super sour.
You're sure?
Like if you saw my face, it would have been like that.
As a whole, like if you just like you said, Tony, if you ignore the meaning of the album and just listen to it for a metalcore album by itself, it's absolutely insane all the way through. There is the only chill moment, it's Everything I Never Told You, and that's the interlude. And it's just, even then, the emotion doesn't stop. Like after Hurricane, it leads into that one, and you can just hear the somber sound of it, and you can tell it's just like, oh, you can be in a good mood and this and that. It's like, oh, now I'm sad, but in a good way. I don't know.
It's not like just some metalcore band just faking emotions. Not that like a lot of them fake the emotions, but it just seems like they follow the same trends over and over. But with this particular record, you can hear a lot of voice cracks in his voice, in the dude's voice about the break. Near the end of a phrase. I'm just like, man, he's really going through it. Like, and yeah, from the sound of it, yeah, I believe that. This album, despite it being short, there's a lot to take in.
There is a lot. Like I can definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
For it only being 7 or 6 full songs long, I am wholeheartedly giving this album a solid 10 out of 10. There is without a doubt.
I agree.
Wow.
For it's I like when you listen to it, Monica, it's just absolutely intense. Like, I'm trying to think of other words to describe it, but I'm having trouble doing so. It's unique in its own way because I love metalcore. I really do. It's my favorite subgenre. It's my favorite area of music. In some parts, I found it hard to listen to this album because, like, oh, I was not expecting that. Okay. For a top 2 on this album, I would probably say Hurricane and Last Cell for me.
Probably go with the same one.
Oh.
And I'm gonna cheat the system a little bit. Since I normally don't include like instrumentals as my favorites, but Everything I Never Told You would probably be like up there for me. Like,
I can agree
just
with that.
because like it's an instrumental speaks louder than like it would with words. I don't know. Sometimes silence says a whole lot.
Silence.
Yes, that's what I really
speaks.
like about the instrumental.
Yeah.
It's just like this beautiful, like peaceful song, and then I'm probably gonna give this a listen tomorrow.
I mean, why not, right?
Me too. It'll be
Well,
my
listen
first
to
listen.
Erra.
but yeah, Monica,
It'll be
message the group chat when you get done because it's a spicy.
Or a sour
Too
record.
spicy for me.
or sour, because like
Sour, sour, spicy. Why not both? Wait, that sounds horrible. That sounds bad.
Yeah, that'd be a
Sour
weird
and
combination.
mm,
okay,
I mean,
okay.
it's
So
not
like,
it's not a wrong accurate. It's it sounds accurate though. Like if you like put those both in your mouth, you just have this like scrunched up looking face listening to this convictions record,
I would
and just
die.
But yeah, Tony, I could agree with the whole idea that it's kind of throwing on like a sour face kind of thing where it's like, ugh, I love it. I guess that kind of concludes for all I want to say about the new Convictions record. Um, it's a lot of emotion going into it, very heavy, very unpredictable. Like you'd think in the moment where it's gonna get calm, it doesn't. But
Yep.
yeah, easy 10 out of 10 for me. It's a certified banger, 100%.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's my thoughts on I Won't Survive by Convictions.
Cool.
oh yeah,
Do you guys both agree it's a 10?
yes.
I would ask you, Monica, what you think about it, but you haven't listened to it
I have
yet.
not, so I will. We'll come back and record another episode of the podcast with many titles. And yeah,
So, song talk, music talk, harmonicast, uh, memery.
Meme-ory. I like that.
Memery, yep. Music memery.
Music Meme-ory. That's wonderful. Yeah,
Is memery even a word?
probably not, but it can be.
Could be.
It is now.
Like, oh, I have an idea for the title.
What?
Hold on. Not hold on.
Hold on. The podcast.
Hold on. Okay.
Meme-ory fiction. Episode where we
Meme-ory.
talk about
Okay. So hot take for a second. Why is the phrase "hold on" used so many times in Ember by Breaking Benjamin?
I was gonna say
Seriously.
just by Breaking Benjamin in general. Like, do you remember the procrastinator dude?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
I think he made a video like documenting all the times they said hold on or something.
I
I
haven't
think
watched
there
this
was one
video
of
in
the
a
few
while.
that wasn't used, but like it could have been.
Yeah.
You made that video. Breaking Benjamin is repetitive.
Yep.
Uh, that's not a bad thing. It's just noticeable.
Yeah, but they do
But
say
yeah,
hold on a lot. But yeah, this was a good first episode of the podcast of many titles, and I hope whoever is watching enjoyed. Please destroy us in the comments if we mispronounce anything. I don't know. I just remember that was the thing we brought up earlier. So,
yeah.
yeah. That's it.
Check out each of our channels. We're all pretty dead at the moment, but do that
Yeah.
anyway.
I mean, I
I'm
haven't
planning to do
uploaded in
stuff.
almost.
But
I haven't uploaded in almost a year, so you know.
yeah, I mean, I'll link our channels, but like, yeah, they're kind of wastelands right now. So,
Yeah.
sad.
Alrighty, well,
That's
goodbye.
it. Bye.
Bye.